Welcome to the Ultimate Cosplay Podcast. Today we have my co-host Chris Talk of Talk Custom, as well as Beverly of Downen Creative Studios. We're going to be talking all things Ultimate Cosplay Championship, as well as cosplay topics, and really just having a normal day-to-day conversation of fun and enjoyment. So if you guys have questions, please save it to the end of the stream. You can catch our podcasts live on Twitch every single weekend on my channel at Hoku Props at Saturdays at 4:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So with that, Chris, do you have any starting things you want to bring up? Or
you talked about a lot of things you wanted to do, but I want to dive deep into the mind and the madness of Beverly during this.
The madness
of this particular show. I'm not going to call this an interview. This is more of like a deep dive character profiling session is what we're doing.
An expose.
Right.
Expose.
It's like, behind the blow with,
she prop.
Exactly. So, actually, Beverly, would you like to introduce yourself and
sure.
maybe what you're known for, what you, we'll start with what are you known for and what do you currently do?
Who am I?
Who are you?
That's a good question. Well, I'm Beverly Downen Creative Studios. It's really an inventive cosplay name there. I know. That was supposed to be like a placeholder for me, but it's just I didn't change it.
By the way, all three of us use our names in our brands, just so you know that. So none of us are original.
Well, I'm a cosplayer. I've been doing this for I think since like 2015, 16, something like that.
Yep.
And I love Marvel. I love making costumes and then writing about them and showing people how I do stuff. And so I do a lot of that kind of thing. I'm crazy about insane details and doing that kind of thing on my costumes and props. And let's see what else. I founded a group called She Prop, which is mostly over on Facebook. It's a group that I created because I was frustrated with being mansplained and people asking me if my husband made everything that I was making. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I do. And I mean, I do a lot of different things. I love to dabble with stuff, but I just like to have a good time. I love the community of cosplay, and I try to do what I can to make a better place for everybody. So cool. That's who I am.
That's a terrific answer to an introduction. So thank you for being here. And as people may or may not know, Beverly is one of our judges in this year's Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship. And we are privileged to have her and her value on our panel and committee of judges this year. In fact, there may be a lot of people that are entering this show in this event because of you. Because they want... No, that's a thing. That people enter events like this because they want to be seen and judged by the people they look up to. I'm trying to make you blush, but it's not working because you're so...
Very pale.
Well, I wasn't going to say pale. I was going to say you have the ability to turn your emotions off, but I'm kidding.
Yes. Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
But I think that the panel of judges and honorary judges are all there. It's a cool group, and I'm really glad to be a part of it. And I'm honored that you invited me. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think when you asked me, I think the word yes came out of my mouth before you finished your sentence.
It did. and by the way, all of so Hoku and I, we have way more conversations than two grown men ever should. And we
even started playing WoW so we could have more conversations and get something done.
So we can relax and talk about work at the same time. But we came up with a great list of ideas when and I'll briefly mention last year we did our show, the first ever Ultimate Online contest, and it did pretty well, right? You watched it. I think you said you had a watch party or something, right?
Yeah, we had that was what, like last May?
It was last May, yeah.
Yeah, so we had our little cosplay bubble, people that like we only hung out with each other. And so we came over, we still social distanced in our house. We each had like a corner of the living room and we watched together. And that was really, really fun. And the thing that I loved the most about it was that we saw a lot of costumes from people that we knew. And their videos were really fun and the commentary was really fun. And I loved all the in-between stuff. And so it was a great experience. And I think that's for myself. I can always speak for myself, but I know that I'm not the only one that really needed that at the time, because everything was being canceled, and it just felt like cosplay was being canceled just because of everything happening in the world. And so it was really nice to be able to have an event like that you could, seeing all of you guys on screen and seeing the familiar faces and seeing the amazing things that people were making and stuff. It was just great. It was a nice escape from the horribleness that was the beginning of last year or the middle of last year.
The apocalypse.
It's almost a shame we didn't do it more often. And by the way, the above Beverly's head is a full video roll of every submission we got, which is like an hour and 10 minutes of every person. But anyway, so
that's what that is.
So we did that event last year. Yeah, last year, because it is not 2020 anymore. And Hoku and I were talking between, I think, Christmas and New Year's, just like a month ago, and we were like, okay, should we do this again? And we were like, yeah.
Well, no, we were talking about it sooner than that.
Maybe, yeah, that's right.
It was like, man, people keep asking if we're gonna do it again, and we would keep kind of like looking at each other like, so we're gonna do it, so we're gonna do it, and then we would just kind of allow things to persist, and then finally it was like, okay, seriously, we're gonna do this, and it was like a resounding F yay.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so the week between Christmas and New Year's is when we reached out to everyone, is what happened.
Sure
and
was.
That's when we called Beverly, and
I was actually in Costco picking up supplies on the phone with Chris. We're trying to figure out people that would just add so much to the contest because of their entire personality. That's the thing you guys have to remember. Everybody involved, personality wise, is kind and wonderful and really loves to share their knowledge.
Yep.
They're very, very approachable. All of those things really kind of strike and hit all of those check boxes for us. So I was like, we should ask Beverly. We need Beverly involved. Because
it's true.
I want to be better friends with you, and if I'm that way, it's like I can imagine everybody wants to be better friends with you or just get to know you. So it's like everybody involved are all people that I think Chris and I both idolize and genuinely adore.
Right.
So
that is true. And
yes.
I was so glad you said it. And I was the person taking notes while he was at Costco, getting like 400 dozen eggs or whatever he was doing. But
only 300.
Okay, but yeah, I think and Beverly and I had never really talked on a personal level, but we ended up on the phone and I was like, hey, do you want to do this? And she, like she just said yes right away. And
yep.
So obviously, there's people that are watching this particular podcast that might not have seen last year's show, but what you just described was wonderful. I love that you just said what you said, because we're so excited to try to replicate that in some way. If we can bring half of the positivity this year that we brought last year, it will be an enormous success, in my opinion. And I think we have an opportunity to go beyond that. So, we've got a much larger panel of judges, which is very exciting. You just made an interesting face when I said that. What does that mean?
There's a lot. Well, I've been on cosplay competition judging before. I've never been on anything with this many hands. So I wasn't involved last year. So there's a lot of people. I'm also thinking about all the videos that I'm going to be making and the little thing that I'm going to be making for my honorary judges board. So I've got homework to do.
Are you able to give us a sneak peek of what you've got planned?
Yeah, and you can share it or not share it. It's totally up to you.
Right now, I have some other projects happening right now, so I'm still sort of in the planning stages, but I do have some ideas for the theme anyway, and I'm gonna reveal all of that in due time.
Okay, I like that
But
answer.
it is definitely going to be,
Excellent.
yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be something that I'm going to put, you know, my heart and soul into, and then I'm going to be sad but happy to see it leave my little shop.
Ooh, that's an
So.
interesting question I've got for you, actually. So as a fabricator and as a maker who takes on commissions occasionally, do you grow attached to your projects?
I do.
Oh no.
Yeah, I really do. So like, I know
Why
I
is
feel
that
like,
a surprise?
the thing I'm working on right now is I'm gonna make it, and I'm like, there's a couple of things, like, you know, anytime you're working on a commission, you're like, gotta get this done. I'm so excited to get this done. Oh my God, this deadline's coming up, just get it done. And then you get it done and it's amazing, and then you're like, well, I gotta ship it away now, bye. And it's like the worst when you don't hear back from whoever it is that like commissioned that from you.
Yep.
You know,
Oh yeah.
you're like,
get
did
it.
it make it there? Like, did it burst into flames when you open the box? Like,
Yep.
do you hate it? Do you hate me? Hopefully you don't hate me.
Oh, I feel you
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
So
Yeah, all three of us have taken commissions on different kind of levels, and it's that feeling when you, first of all, I never want to ship it because I want to keep it, and second, when they get it, I want to hear the moment they get it, or we'll like see a film of them opening it or wearing
The
it or putting it
unboxing?
on. Like, yeah, I want to see that because I care that much, and it's infuriating.
We could solicit for some unboxing videos from our winners.
That's not a bad idea.
Ooh.
We should put it in their contract. No, I'm kidding. My brain is a little wired for that.
We just got a host.
Oh,
actually. So thank you so much for the host. Welcome everybody. Sorry to interrupt chat, but my computer just screamed at
Jimbo.
me.
I recognize Jimbo.
Welcome, Jimbo.
You guys, and we'll take a break from the stream here. There's a person named Big Monkey 20,000. That's my brother, who is the third co-owner of Ultimate Cosplay, by the way.
Yeah.
So we made this. We made Ultimate Cosplay a official company. We are an LLC, and it's owned by myself, my brother, who's in chat, and Oku Props. Anyway, I'm really excited that you're here watching this, and you guys are gonna get to. We'll probably do an interview with him at some point, so you can get to know why he is one of our part owners, and he's better looking, smarter, and more athletic than me.
He is definitely a good looking dude.
He's a good looking talk.
That is the understatement. He's a good looking talk.
He's a good looking talk.
You know what though? And he sounds like you.
Does he? Does he have?
So does. He so does.
I was so jealous that you guys had a meeting without me today. I felt left out.
Next time.
But I was happy. Anyway, we'll get back to the show. So, something that we were talking about during the great, Hulk Hoku rage thing that was happening was
you won't like me when I'm angry.
We had asked Beverly earlier, can you walk us through like how you got into creative elements? I asked you if you went to school for being a costume designer or artist, and do you mind kind of re-illustrating that for everyone?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So way back when, I went to art school, and so this was I graduated in 1998, and that was kind of before computers. Like everyone had their own computer. Like nobody really had their own computer unless you were like rich or it was your dad's or something like that. And certainly the computer situation at my school was virtually non-existent. So I did not learn a lot of. I hand drew everything. I did all of my projects, sketched everything out by hand. I made all of my prototypes by hand. I did all my presentations by hand with drawings that I had done. So everything that I did was all drawing and sketching, and I kind of miss that actually. But yeah, so I went to school for industrial design, which if you're not sure what that is, it's kind of an umbrella term for everything design.
Yeah.
Everything that is in the world that has been made by someone or designed by somebody, there is an element of industrial design involved with that. And I kind of wish that I had understood that a little bit more when I was going to school, because I thought I wanted to do graphic design. And then I kind of stumbled into industrial design.
Yeah, like every alarm clock or a sewing machine, like that's all industrial design.
Totally. And as well as transportation design, which includes designing cars. And an industrial designer designs the look and feel of the Tesla cars, or like whatever your favorite car is. An industrial designer like probably drew that out and
what is your favorite
had a
car?
big hand.
Ooh.
My favorite car?
As an industrial designer.
Oh, as an industrial designer? Oh.
Some women are into cars and some aren't.
Well, she's just talking about cars.
Yeah. Oh, what's my favorite? My favorite pretty car.
When we interview Volpin, all we're gonna do is talk about cars, by the way.
Talk about cars.
Yeah.
I know.
Initial D.
You...
I'm really bad at knowing like
just
what
say like
car brands are.
Say like the Michael Keaton Batmobile from Batman Returns or something, and then we'll move on.
Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what I really love? I love the bikes in Tron.
Okay.
Oh,
like,
the Lightspeed.
light
The
cycles.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Oh my god,
Plus,
those are.
How hot is Jeff
coolest.
Bridges? If we could talk about that for a couple hours. Anyway,
Oh,
yeah. Right.
You know what? You know what? You say that because he's who you want to be when you're older.
I'm working my way
You
up.
literally want to be Jeff Bridges when you're older, but
I do.
cosplaying.
I just need more sweaters.
Although he actually cosplays, so he's the
okay.
dude.
So we were talking about industrial design.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was totally going on a tangent about industrial design. Sorry, this is hopefully not super boring for everybody, but I think that more people need to know about what industrial design is, because it touches every aspect of everyone's life. And it's certainly, I loved it. I loved it so much. I initially wanted to go into product design because I thought that the sketching and the concept, the process of bringing a concept to life and making the product, the prototype product, we would hand sculpt all that stuff. That was my favorite part of anything that I did, was making those little whatever it was that I designed, taking something that I had on paper and figuring out a way to make it out of the hardware store stuff, and painting it and like doing all that crazy stuff. And the fun thing about all of that was that there were no limits. So everything was an original design. So the process of the design work, I loved. But then, as I told you earlier, when we were having the technical problems, I met a product designer, and he was pretty sad soul. So I decided that I didn't want to be that person. So I switched. I switched to furniture design, which is my second love. I love furniture design. I love modern design, and so I decided that was kind of what I wanted, the direction that I wanted to go in. So I got an internship after school. Basically what that internship meant was I was just a salesperson in a modern design furniture store in New York, which was very glamorous and fun. And I did design some stuff. I don't know that I would really say that I designed the furniture for the offices, but I did Raygun's office back before Raygun magazine was Raygun. I did a music video set for one of the guys from Wu-Tang. And that was really neat because we were doing it in the Royalton Hotel, they said, yes, you can do this. You can shoot this thing in the hotel room, but you cannot tack anything to the wall, no tape, no nothing. That room has to look exactly like it does when you walk in as when you walk out. So we had to invent some fake panels and like build all this stuff, and there was dry ice involved, and it was a freaking blast. I loved it. So all the hands-on stuff, all of that stuff, I loved it. And then, sorry, my origin story is so long.
No, I didn't realize we were talking to someone that was part of Wu-Tang right now.
No, I was not part of Wu-Tang.
No, like you literally are like part of Wu-Tang right now in my eyes. So you're.
It was for RZA, and it was sort of like a when he was doing his own thing. So, but there, it was such a fun time. It was such a fun time. And then I pivoted big time. I wanted to do
Give me a timeline
web
here.
design.
So you did furniture until when?
I stopped doing that like in 2001, I think.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I still had my hands in it a little bit, but I wanted to. Computers were sort of like, I realized, I made a mental shift. Like, I need to learn. I need to get a computer, and somehow teach myself all of these things. So I had like a big sale commission at work, and my deal with my boss was, he said, if you close this sale, I will buy you a computer. And back then, like a giant desktop was like $3,000, which I wound up doing it, and he wound up buying me the computer. And I filled it with every single Adobe program that I could get my hands on, like Dreamweaver and Illustrator and Photoshop and 3D Studios Max.
Yep.
And I mean, everything under the sun. I was like just absorbing it all. I wanted to teach myself everything. I was working during the day, and then I'd come home at night and work until like 3 o'clock in the morning on like my own stupid HTML website pages. Because I loved it. I just loved it. I love that instant gratification.
The Dreamweaver days.
Oh,
And that's back when you
God,
could buy
so
software and own it. Remember those? Remember those days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did Lucille just fall over again?
Lucille just fell. She took out my trash can.
Dude, Lucille sounds hefty.
Yeah, I mean,
She
well,
is.
it's
Lucille's real.
It's a bat, so
She's a real bat.
she's
I
an
have her in my
aluminum
little
bat.
shop. But anyway, I can stop this backstory anytime now.
No,
we haven't
so
even talked about cosplay yet.
I'm curious how that translates, and it's clear that you've just always been interested in being a maker, a designer. You talked about like drawings to literal, CAD and 3D Studio Max to furniture design. So design and creating and building has always been something in your blood since you were probably, a teenager?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It really has been. I've always loved making stuff and using my brain to think about how else I could do something. I never liked to be just someone that fell in line with everybody else. I wanted to kind of find my own rhythm with everything, and I wanted to not necessarily stand out against like everybody else, but I definitely wanted to do my own thing. Like when I was in school, as an example, it was like 6th grade, 5th grade. Everybody plays an instrument, and I was like, well, I'll play the flute. Well, we got the flute, and then I went to a band class with the flute, and I opened the door, and there were like 25 other flute players in there because all the girls chose flutes. And I was like, I'm not doing this.
Right.
I don't want to be just like everybody else here. So I picked up the oboe. I played the oboe for like 12 years.
I love the oboe.
I do too.
Yeah.
I love the
It's
oboe.
a very
the actual like
instrument.
intonation and sound of the oboe. So good.
Yes.
Piccolo, on the other hand, is like screeching death sound. Same with the flute, though.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can tell you that the oboe can sound like that too, because I remember one day I was practicing. This was like the very first few days that I had my oboe, and our neighbor came over, knocked on the door, and said, I think there's an injured like goose or something around your house.
Did
and
you
I
say an
can't find
injured
it.
ghost?
Are you hearing it? Yeah.
Like they thought
seriously,
a injured, like
an injured bird. They thought
I
that
thought
my
you said
playing.
ghost, like
Ghost.
like something
No,
from
the-
the
the-
afterlife was injured and screeching. Okay, go on.
I mean, it could have been that too.
Right.
That's what
But
Sammy
yeah.
sounds like when she's playing scary
Right.
games, actually.
Something is haunting my mind, and it's in pain. Okay.
Oh,
a goose.
well, I have to pause for a second and say, Shadow 18 Ninja, definitely no shade on flautists, on people that play the flute. I just like had it stuck in my mind that I wanted to do something that that was different. That's all. Yeah. I don't play the oboe anymore.
I played the cello. Hoku, what did you play?
Oh man, I play a lot. I have.
Oh yeah, you have a ukulele.
I actually literally. So my lungs got a little damaged from COVID, and I get winded going up and down the stairs. Put it that way. So I actually literally just bought a saxophone to try and like do some physical therapy, and I've been loving it. I played the saxophone when I was a kid, literally in elementary
that's
school.
awesome.
So it was like Heck yeah. Let's have fun with it. Now, Sammy, we might go get her a flute because she played flute as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then we're gonna create an ultimate cosplay jazz band.
I'm down.
So if you're down to be a cellist, I know Zach wants to do.
Oh no, I'll bring my
wants to go pick
accordion.
up a trumpet.
Yeah.
Oh, you also got your accordion, but
I can get some jazz sticks for my drum
play the
kit.
ukulele.
I play
sorry
drums and piano.
to finish answering the question. Drums, ukulele. I did play keyboard for a while. Piano, but I suck at it. Oh yeah, guitar. I forgot about that one. I love music.
Okay.
If in another lifetime I was a musician, so
I think we should start a band based on like percussion, but with cosplay supplies. So like EVA foam. What does that
Didn't
sound
they
like?
do that called
then-
Stomp back in the late 90s?
And then
stop.
Right. Where they just like jumped on big iron drums and stuff like that. Okay. All right, we're
You
getting off.
I've been to Stomp, and it was
How
pretty
was it?
fun.
Was it good?
It was fun.
Good.
I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay.
We had some drinks
I
before we went.
I have to say, Bev, you have a incredible brain. You're such a wonderful person. Just saying.
Oh gosh. Oh, well, thank you. I'm just a small town girl potato sitting over here, just having
Living
fun
in a small
talking.
time world.
Yeah.
I like that you're able to keep up with our shift in everything that's happening, and then we can still get back. So
I think she's been primed for this with the previous conversations we've had between conventions and just phone calls.
she's also
like,
good
these
friends
are-
with Corgi,
these are
who
loons.
is absolutely just unpredictable. So she's got a lot of practice.
Actually, Bev, you want to hear something funny?
I would love
And then the chat will laugh at this. So I just did a big video job for a guy. We were doing a bunch of dental like video edits, and the guy's like, "Man, you're in a cosplay, right? Do you know Eric?" And then he said Eric's last name. And I was like, "Yeah, I do." So just so you know, Eric, Mark says hello.
Mark the
Oh my
dentist.
Totally random.
That's
Totally
That's
random
hilarious.
job.
That's funny. Okay, before we started talking about Stomp and instruments and whatever. Okay, so you were talking about working with your hands. So between 2001, when you got out of furniture and hanging out with Wu-Tang every day,
Right. Okay.
and 2015, when you started cosplaying, what did that look like?
So I left New York right after, well, not long after 9/11,
Right.
because my clients were in that area and everything closed down, or like the businesses all closed down.
Yep.
So all of my freelance work was gone. And my brother was going to nursing school in upstate New York, and I went to go visit him, and I was like, oh, this is like reverse culture shock all over again, because I grew up in a very small town in Vermont. And so going to New York was like, and then living there for 10 years and then going back to the
Wow.
country was really kind of cool, actually. Just to like get away from the city for a little bit. So I went to school for X-ray, and I lived in upstate New York for 3 years, and I paid my way through school with my web design, because I was still doing a little bit of that. So that was like a hard shift. That was like an in-between creative
You just
stuff.
became
I
a
didn't-
radiologist, is what you're saying?
an X-ray technologist. Yeah,
Oh,
I
is
went to
that
school for 2
different?
years,
Okay.
and then they're different. Yeah, radiologist.
I'm
is
not a
is
doctor or
the
anything.
physician. Yeah, I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
I just play one on TV sometimes. But so I always wanted to live on the West Coast. So my boyfriend and I at the time, we were like, let's do it. Let's pack up everything in our car and we'll drive
Yep.
cross country. And so we did. And then not long after that, we split up, and I lived by myself in Portland, Oregon for a little while. And that
Okay.
really sucked for a while, because I didn't know anybody. And
Right.
I had like no friends here, and I didn't have a job. It was like the worst. But I stayed here because the X-ray, the pay was like way better than it was back on the East Coast. So anyway, that was a really hard transition. So I did that for a little bit, and then I didn't do any artistic anything for a while, and I cannot believe I survived that period of time when I wasn't doing anything. It was really, really kind of crazy. I think I was so distracted with like other like crises in my life, like moving cross country and not having anybody that I could like hang out with. But fast forward a few years, like stable job. I met my husband. We bonded over talking about photography. And I think that that was the beginning of like my rekindling of like the love of arts and finding someone that I could like do those kinds of things with, that would understand and that would encourage me to do those things. So we actually shot a few weddings together. Like
Cool.
I know my way around a camera, and he is down in photography on the socials. Please, everybody go follow him and give him some love.
Oh, put his
he's a
handle
wonderful-
in chat.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, no, he's the best. He's my number one fan, and it's been kind of nice to be in quarantine with someone that you really like, and someone who has a creative hobby as well.
Cool.
Even though his has been kind of difficult because he's very social, and so not being able to do photo shoots with people has been really hard. But yeah, so the cosplay thing started. He has 2 kids. I'm their stepmom, and we in 2015 we went to a convention for the first time, not knowing what it was, and we went, and we were all like, oh my god, this is so cool.
What con was it?
It was Rose City Comic Con here in Portland. It's kind of a small con, really, really great for families. And Zach, I think, was 6 at the time. Zoe was, she was like 10? Younger than that, actually. I take that back. But anyway, we had a really good time. I couldn't believe my eyes. I saw adults there that clearly had made their own thing. And that was sort of like a bing, like, I kind of want to make something. I know how to do this. I can do this. So the following year, my stepdaughter asked me if I would help her sew a Tariel costume from The Hobbit. And I said, heck yes, I would love to do that.
Cool.
Love to teach how to sew. My mom taught me. This is kind of cool, like bonding experience with my stepdaughter. And so, yeah, that was the beginning of that. That was in 2016. And
cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I was in that same bubble of people that started cosplaying in 2015. Like a lot of people did, actually. There was this huge surge of people that started around that time. And a lot of those people were people kind of, you know, older than 30, and people that like to go to things like the Renaissance Fair, or played MMOs, or, you know, people that don't golf, or, you know, things like that. So
people that don't golf.
But is that funny that we're basically the, like, I don't know, the other side of the mirror of golfers, is that they have golf and we have cosplay? Is that,
well, you know, it's like a fandom, right? It's like a Final Fantasy, or not Final Fantasy, it's like, or fantasy football. Is that how you say that? Is that how you say that?
Yeah, okay.
It's a fandom.
It is.
It's a fandom. So yeah, some people have golf, and we have
if there's any
endeavors.
If there's any cosplayers here that golf, please let us know, because I'm really curious now. But anyway, so
and the other question I want to know is, do you golf in cosplay?
We'll wait for that answer.
Oh no, anybody who sorry.
I do have
any of you that golf, do you cosplay while golfing? Because that could be fun.
I have a funny very short side story. So I started making clothes back in 2015 after my first con, and I made a costume that I loved, and afterwards I didn't have any costumes to make because there was not a lot of cons in Milwaukee. So I started making clothing, and I was making a lot of like blue jeans and things that you could buy at like Old Navy. And I ended up going to a charity golf outing that my family was part of. But I didn't want to look, I wanted to look like the biggest idiot on the golf course. So I started making crazy, weird pants and flat caps that matched. And that's how I started making crazy pants. That's why my brand became as eccentric as it did with my choice of clothing. So because of golf, that's why I started selling and creating wild clothing. So thank you, golf. Okay, so you went to your first con in 2015 or so, and then something took over. Oh, actually, I should ask you this. Do you have a full-time job right now?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to share what that is? You don't have to.
Oh. If I told you, I would have to kill you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm willing to take that risk.
I'm still in the medical field. I am an MRI technologist now.
Okay, cool. Wow.
And I I work at the local hospital up here. So it's been an interesting year for sure. I'm very grateful to still have a job. I cannot complain about that.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've actually been wanting to put together a spreadsheet of all of the judges and all our committee members and what their real job is, because there are some super interesting jobs that people have on just our committee alone, but of cosplayers that competed last year that also have very just, you'd never expect them to be, whatever it is they are, but like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you, and that's like
Yep.
one more thing I get to admire about you is that you get to do that and create things that draw the attention of some pretty high status companies for you to work on projects for, which will not be named due to contractual obligations, obviously.
Oh, we can name them, but
Do you want
we can
you
also
want to name
move
drop?
on.
You want to
No, we don't have to name
Okay.
drop.
You don't have to.
No.
But
I got
Yeah,
a question for you. Bev, what is your favorite prop you've ever made?
It's so funny. I feel like I've been asked this question before, and so
What
I
are
should
what are
have an
some of the
answer.
favorite props that you've ever made?
Some of the favorite ones. I can answer that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
One of my favorite ones is my Athena shield.
Which I have seen.
freaking
Was that the
love
Medusa one?
it. Yes.
Yeah.
On my wall
That thing
right
is
now.
beautiful.
I love it so much, and like the things I had to do to figure out how to make the snakes, that was stressful, but it was also fun. It was like a fun project for sure. I like going off script for that project. My other favorite thing, man, I love shields. Let's face it. Oh, my Hippolyta sword. Oh my God. Okay, I think that's like my favorite thing that I've made. And that thing, I made a few of them because I cast them, and I sold just a few of them because they took me a long time to make. I'm not an amazing like casting person.
Sure.
And so the way that I made it, there's like 5 different molds, and then I had to like glue them all together.
Oh,
and then I had
wow.
to sand them all down to like
Wow.
hide the seams, and so I don't do that anymore.
That sounds like a
but it was-
tremendous amount of work for one prop.
It's just so pretty, and I love it so much. Where is it? I miss it. I need to
Go
see
get it. Chad and I will talk about you while you wander around your workshop.
Oh, it's on the wall. Okay.
Oh.
It's right here.
I didn't.
Her workshop, by the way, is so wonderfully
It's
organized.
stunning.
Look how pretty.
Wow.
Can you see? I just love these details.
So that was all hand sculpted and then molded.
Yeah. So this
and then cast. Okay.
was a separate piece.
Wow.
These, oh my God, funny story. This is foam because I forgot to make.
So you just did like
of
half
this
round dowels. Okay.
Well, yeah, I made the whole thing, you guys, and then I was like, something's missing. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
oh my God, I forgot a whole piece. So that became like the 6th mold that I had to make. So this one is my original.
Okay. Can I see
love this thing.
I want to see the pummel, please.
The butt? You want to see the butt of the
There
sword?
it is.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see it. I love just how much detail there is. God, the texturing on just the handle alone is gorgeous.
I actually 3D modeled this. Like I fudged through a 3D modeling thing. I didn't do it correctly, that's for sure. But I did manage to 3D print it, and because I knew that I wanted this to be something that would look like it was like I don't think I would have been able to hand do this. I tried a bunch of different things and I just couldn't figure it out.
Other than sculpting it, I wouldn't know how to do that other than 3D printing it. So, and Hoku's probably over there like, I know how I would do that because that's how his
totally.
brain works.
You
no,
can totally
3D.
do this with your eyes closed.
That's all I got.
Yep.
For
3D.
sure.
No, not eyes. Sorry, eye closed.
Eye closed. Yes. Sorry.
Hoku's
So
allowed
sorry.
to make fun of himself for having one eye, but no one else is. So Don't
Everyone is allowed to make fun.
don't cross that boundary.
All good.
Except for
Hey,
that
you guys
asshole in Long Beach that called you a pirate at the bakery. That was the way you handled that was hilarious. Anyway,
So I'm going to show you guys my inspiration for being so dedicated to detail. Is he still in the chat?
Eric,
Eric,
are you here?
your Lady
He is
Sif
here.
sword.
Ah,
I entered a contest to win this because someone was like, "Hey, you're building Lady Sif. You should enter this contest."
How
for
long
this
is
sword."
that sword? Jesus, it's like the ship at the beginning of Spaceballs. That just
well, Eric's got
I love
something
this
going
thing.
for him. He's so tall that his molds can be like 12 feet tall,
right.
and it's okay. He can actually get him out.
Yep.
Well, it was really exciting to have something that was like, first of all, I totally adored and like worshipped him. I couldn't believe that I like won this contest to win this sword. And then when I got it, it was like, oh my God, everything else that I am going to be making for this costume has to be as nice as this thing. So Eric, it's your fault.
And it's interesting because some of the props you're showing off, like that could be a little bit of insight onto what your Judge's Choice Award may be. And actually, I don't know if you've given any thought to this, but I'm going to ask you right now. So during this contest that we're running in May, every judge is going to have a Judge's Choice Award where they're going to get a medallion with your name that'll say, you know, Downen Creative Studios Judge's Choice Award. Have you thought about whether you want your award to have a theme to it or not?
I have, yeah. I'm like really big into Athena right now, like the goddess, and the costume that I made with Athena, like just those elements and everything. Like I just love all of the lore behind it and the stories and all of the things that she has been known for. That she's the patron for warriors, but not for brute strength,
Sure.
but for using intelligence and wit to defeat enemies.
Yeah, strategic almost.
Yeah, strategic. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's fascinating, and the more I'm learning about Athena, the more I want to like incorporate her into everything that I do. So it's strangely appropriate, I think, for elements of that to at least show up in something that I do for whatever it is that I wind up doing.
So you're talking about your gift or the prize that you're going to make.
Mm-hmm.
That's not specific, and I appreciate you sharing that. But I was specifically referring to. I'll give you an example. We may end up in a situation where the Egg Sisters may select their favorite creature costume cosplayer to receive their award, is what I'm trying to say. So is there a particular cosplayer or theme that you'll be looking for? That could be the Downen Creative Studios honorary.
So like you're totally into like mythos.
I
right?
thought you were
like
going to say
Greek
whoever
mythos.
cosplays Athena the best is going to win your award or something like that. So that's what I'm talking about.
That would be incredible too, though.
Oh my gosh. Actually, I have thought about that, and what I have decided is I'm such a big proponent and supporter of sharing processes and being transparent about what I'm doing and being open to talking to people if they have questions and things like that. So I was thinking that mine would be someone who is trying to give back to the community as much as they're taking from the community through with their whatever it is that they're making. So whether that's like posting online, or they are, you know, maybe they're having like a challenging time with some part of their build that they're doing, but they're still talking about it online, and they are, you know, like reaching out to people, or they're just interacting with people, sharing stuff. That is my jam. And so I think that I'm gonna hone that in just a little bit, but I know that for sure.
I think that's a great idea, but
big part of it.
You may have your work cut out for you, because if we get 1,000 submissions, you're going to have to figure out of that many people,
I know,
who is that person to you.
Yep.
So if you're, you know, in for that deep dive into however many, because last year we got almost 400, and it was It was
something.
almost 300 submissions, but we didn't market the show, and we only had submissions open for 3.5 or 3 weeks or something. So there's probably going to be a lot more people that are showing up this year, and people are terrified at the competition and the judges, especially this guy right here. Hoku is like
He's scary.
He's our villain. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, there has to be one evil character on camera during the show.
I mean, so for what it's worth, some of you haven't heard me laugh, but my true, genuine belly laugh, I sound like Count Dracula. So no, Sammy says Count Chocula, but
Count Chocula.
I think it's Dracula.
No, that's more like
Transylvania.
This is more laughter.
It makes me laugh even more and more and more and more.
He just laughs because of all the chocolatey goodness, but yours is more evil.
1 2 I want some Cocoa Puffs.
Okay, so and then obviously so as everyone is aware, all judges on our committee, honorary or on camera, will be treated as equal. And what are you going to be looking forward to for this show? Because you're part of this show, you know? Like, last year you watched it and you might have been like, wow, that was cool. But now you don't get to watch it well, you'll get to watch it.
I don't get to watch it?
Oh, no, you're going to be an honorary judge, so all of your content will have been pre-submitted. So you're going to get to watch yourself during a live show, which is going to be really weird. But anyway, what are you looking forward to the most from the competitors and from what we can offer the community?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's such a big question. I am looking forward to the stories behind these things, these costumes that people are making. I think that, you know, everyone has been isolated pretty much. And I'm looking forward to hearing the stories about like how this project for these people has impacted their lives, or like gotten them through like the last few months of this quarantine that we're in. And relating that back to cosplay and like having like a goal, having a deadline, and having those things back in your life again, and how important that is, and the struggles and all of that stuff that comes along with all of that, to be able to escape from what is happening in the world right now, and having that energy channeled into whatever it is that they're working on. Like, I really want to hear about that. I'm looking forward to seeing all of the hard work that everyone has put into things. I'm looking forward to hearing about maybe their challenges, the things that they challenge themselves with, maybe a new process that they learned. All of that stuff is somehow so much more important to me this year, after having the year that we did.
I think that's a terrific answer. I have so many more questions, but I feel like I'm asking too much. Chad, is there anything that's eating a hole in your heart right now that you're just desperate to ask?
You know, when you spoke of having your little get together last year for our contest, there's something that I've heard a lot of people kind of say about the contest, and that is that it's almost kind of like having the convention back. Watching the contest, being a part of the contest for me was very much, it gave me the same feelings of when I'm at a convention. And that's something that I think we really want to, maybe capitalize isn't the right word, but we definitely want to offer that same feeling or that same vibe. Having the amount of judges that we have. So maybe I can talk about, by the way, your actual like engineering growing up, or your design, right? Industrial design. That resonates so much with me, because you were kind of like very much similar in me as far as this like mindset and ideology. Like, I grew up building stuff. I grew up exploring how things worked. It's so exciting, taking watches apart when I was a kid, that kind of thing. And so what's so cool about the contest that we're doing here? You know, you had mentioned you've never been a part of a contest with as many people as you are, and that's because no contest before now really could ever offer having a board, so to speak, of judges
Right.
that were 18 plus people. We're luckily enough in this really cool position where, as a honorary judge or on-screen judge, for the first time, you're going to see exactly what the audience gets to see. Everybody is going to know up close what the costume looks like, from a distance what the costume looks like, and there's going to be far more similarities in mindset, I think. That's something that I've actually said to Chris about, is Chris is kind of in this really great position because as judges, we can look at him, and that's the face that the audience has as well, because he has such this wonderful, you know, smile of just like he can't hold it in, you know.
Even right now, I'm having a moment where I'm like, I'm sitting between virtually two extraordinarily intelligent people who are very hard workers that I admire both of you, and I'm feeling a little bit smaller right now because I'm acknowledging just how much I admire both
See,
of you.
it's so funny you say that, because for me, it's like there's a pink elephant in the room, and it's you, buddy. You know, like
Hopefully
like
that's a good thing. Yeah.
No, it's a great thing because you're able to just be a part of the world and bring something to it. And that's something that I think everybody involved, especially this year, is going to be able to do. Last year we were lucky enough to get, you know, 10, 11 people involved that were of that mindset, and now we've got even more of that mindset. So I think it's really just going to continue the same wonderful welcoming vibes. I hope people realize how much we just want you all to feel welcome. But yeah, exciting times. I don't have anything. I just like talking about our contest because I'm so excited about it.
I am too. And
is there something you're really excited about with the contest, Beverly?
Yeah, I'm excited to actually get some time to look at what people have made.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is such a rushed process when you are doing contests in person, and you have the whole, like, there's a big long line of people and they're waiting, and
I almost just
you
spit
have like
coffee all over my
time
computer
limit.
when you said that. Sorry to interrupt. What you just said was so funny. I almost spit coffee all over my computer because we talked about this last year, that when you're at a live convention, if you're a judge or a competitor, you have roughly 4 to 6 minutes at most to be prejudged. And then the judges have like maybe an hour and a half to deliberate after they see everyone. And it's a very intensive all-day process. And last year, what we were able to do was we spent, I think, 4 days worth of, you know, deliberating, selecting finalists, assigning point values, selecting, you know, category, or, you know, all that stuff. And we got to take our time and really talk about it, you know, and like sleep on it and wake up the next day and think about, like, okay, are we making the right decision? And we have the privilege to do that together. So
yeah,
sorry to interject, but this is much different than anything else that I've ever been a part of.
Well, I'm excited about it. I actually wanted to say that I was talking to Cutie Pie in a panel that we did for Sheeprop about it was how the pandemic has affected cosplay. And one of the subjects that we talked about was virtual contests and how that has, what that experience has been. And a few people on the panel had been judges on virtual contests. And she said that, you know, it's really great, but the only thing that she wished that she did miss from being in person and being able to see things up close, were seeing all of those details up close and being able to unlike what you can do with a video, you can actually look at the things at the angle that you want to look at. Right. So she said the only thing that she wished that people would do more of were more angles of everything, and getting in there and getting details and showing off your favorite part, and really talking about the parts that you are proud of. She said that sometimes that part of it is missing, and I know that you guys did such a good job last year. I know it's going to be even better this year. But yeah, if everybody in the chat, please include your favorite parts.
I was going
lots of close-ups, because I really want to be able to
something
that
that
stuff.
We didn't get to really showcase was that almost every artist had a full build book and work in progress shots and those kind of, you know, this is how this was made along the way type of thing. So like some people sent dozens of photos, if not more, of the entire production, and then like literal like 1 or 2 inches away from certain seams or techniques or details, just so we could actually get a scope of it. But then we had obviously our virtual stage, which just showed a video, and like you're seeing above yourself on the stream, but you will see lots and lots of details. And the people that take the time to submit that and showcase really good video footage do very well. So
Well, there's also something unique about it though, is when we're judging in person, you know, we get all up close and we're like, hey, can we flip your seams and do this and do that? I think that the competitors, if you really I think the competitors really should try to be strategic with the contest, because for the first, well, maybe not the first time, but in our contest, what you show us is what we see. So you have the capacity to make sure that you are emphasizing all the things you want the judges to see. And then you're able to not focus on the things that maybe are going to be less than beneficial. You don't really have that option. And so much about this contest is about having wonderful, really good, strong, fundamental techniques and capabilities, but it's also about the strategy. So that's something that I really want to emphasize again, is be strategic. I love strategy, so I'm always going to talk about that. I want people to love it too.
Oh, Plexi Cosplay, she said the build up to this contest is overwhelming.
I was just going to make a comment on that, and this has been it's been really wild, because as of right now, it's been, I think, exactly 1 month since we made our official announcement. I think we made it on the 5th or 6th last month, and we already have more judges, more sponsors, more enthusiasm, and all that stuff, which is great for the show, but it's that much more pressure for the competitors. And Oku's competed, I've competed. Beverly, have you ever competed? You talked about
in a cosplay contest?
Yeah, like not just a prop contest, but a full cosplay contest. What was your costume?
I well, the first one was Lady Sif and Thor. That was we did that up at Emerald City. That was the first and last time my husband joined me on stage. But we won best duo.
Wait, he joined you like he was your handler or what?
He was
No
Thor.
duo. He was in cosplay.
Oh, it was okay. I got you. All right.
You have pictures.
Oh yeah. He was. I had my Lady Sif sword.
I'm going to see if I can go find them.
That's funny. Okay.
And then some other ones, and then I think one of the last ones that I did was I got a second best in show for my Hela, my original.
Oh
Hela
yeah, beautiful.
At Emerald City.
Okay, so and actually just because a lot of people that are watching this now and people that will watch the recording, is there anything that you would say to anyone competing? Because there are a lot of people that are sending me direct messages that are like, hey, I'm pissing my pants over whether I should even attempt to enter, or there's a lot of people that are really feeling the pressure right now.
Yeah. Oh well, I think that entering a contest like this, just do it. This is an experience that you are giving yourself. You're always going to be learning something from whatever it is that you throw yourself into. If it is making you shake and nervous a little bit, obviously if it's making you feel super anxious, maybe reevaluate why you're getting into the contest. No one should be freaking out and losing sleep over something like this. But if it is something that you are nervous about because of all the competition, because there's so many amazing people that you look up to, that's a great reason to get involved with something like this, because you're putting a little bit of a challenge on yourself, and you're joining all sorts of other people who are all working towards the same goal, and then cheering each other on during the event itself. Like if you can do that, you have won in cosplay. Like that is what I think cosplay is all about. Like just learning along the way, having fun, and interacting with the community and with your friends and meeting new people. And all of those things can still happen with a virtual contest, even when you are pitting yourself up against people that you admire and that you really think are like gonna blow you out of the water. Like just do it anyway. Don't miss out on an experience like this, because this is the second year. It's only going to get better. But do something that scares you every once in a while and have fun with it. That's what I would say.
I think that was my favorite answer to what is cosplay to you ever.
And she was talking
Absolutely.
specifically about competitive cosplay, but still the message was there. And I wish I could bottle what you just said and share it with every person.
Well, luckily we've got it recorded.
We do. So I'll just say, here's a sound clip of Beverly Downen talking about whatever. But
Zen moments with Beverly Downen.
But it's I love that you drew attention to, you know, this is something that people get to do to challenge themselves and celebrate what they're doing for themselves, with the judges, with their companions, with their peers. People are going to end up looking up to these competitors, who those people are going to grow to be judges and make educational content and literature and videos. And the evolution and rapid growth of this community is nobody can keep up with it. It's moving so quickly, and every week, month, you know, quarter, there's someone new that's offering, like when you started doing your Cricket for Cosplay videos, like no one did that, you know, nobody did that. And that was a big part of how you made your Wasp cosplay, which was like, no disrespect to Marvel, but it was better than what I saw in you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp. But like you did things that no one else did because you have that kind of mind that just wanted to dissect, how can I do this? Because there is no fabric that exists on this planet that you had to create in order to make that costume. And that kind of innovation that you just decided to share with people is what people respect you so much for.
Oh, well, thank you. I think that sometimes I take the very long road around things, but I will say that in my defense, I learned 200 things along the way on that very hard road that I've just made for myself.
Yep.
And if I decide that that is the long way around and that's what I'd like to do, that is fine. I think sometimes I don't let like horrible comments online like really bug me very much anymore, because who cares what anybody else thinks?
Right.
Like, I would love to see you make a Wasp cosplay. Go ahead, let's do it. But oh my god, what was I saying?
Oh no, I love that you said it, and then we're just gonna breeze right past it because
I know, like, and then moving on.
That's it.
moving
We
on
were
to my
talking about
thoughts.
leveling it up and how it's okay to take the long road to get places if you grow along that way.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I was like you were saying, Chad, like taking apart watches. Like I used to take apart toasters and like stuff that was in the garage. Like if it had like screws on it, I was going to take it apart. Absolutely. And so I love looking at like the Cricut machine and be like, what can I put in that thing?
Right.
Like, let's tinker with this. Let's figure this thing out. Like I want to break it. I don't want to buy any of the materials that Cricut makes for this stuff. I want to put my own stuff in here, and I want to like, I'm going to write it all down. There's a very scientific, like crazy method that I go through. I've got notebooks with all sorts of like everything that I've tried.
I saw all your spreadsheets and all your prototypes and all, like I saw all those notes because I love that stuff.
Yeah,
the
it's
same
fun.
way.
And
Yeah,
so,
like it's
sometimes
fascinating.
that long road creates information that you can use later. Like you're still
a pathfinder. You really are.
Right.
You're paving the way for individuals like all of us to discover really the extent in which we can push some of these topics and some of these techniques. Like it's incredible what you're doing, because you're willing to investigate. And I think that there is not enough investigation going on in the world right now on the creative topics, really. And think about the way that we got foam and started incorporating that. Luckily enough, Evil Ted back in the day, because he's like 12,000 years old, he was able to
I didn't say that,
find
Ted.
I hope he's
so many of
watching
these.
this right now. Oh God,
I play.
no,
We love you, Ted.
you don't. But we made fun of him while he was on camera about him being old, and he loves it. So don't worry about it. Anyway, go on.
I love Ted. I'm going to interject and say that my very first prop that I ever made was a helmet. It was, and I still have it somewhere, Magneto helmet that I made after I watched his video on how to make helmets with foam.
I did the same thing, and
Yeah.
that was what inspired me to start creating. Was he had 2 videos up on YouTube when I first found him, and that's what inspired me to start making costumes.
I feel like I need to go watch those videos, and then I'll start working with foam more.
Oh, we should re-interview Ted and then play his first video ever on YouTube and just watch him just like hide under a blanket. Anyway,
like a Mystery Science Theater.
Right. And
just
watch him
like
cringe and be like, oh wow, look how much
videos.
more hair I had, and it was all brown back then instead of white. Okay, so I love what you had just said about taking the time to discover that, and what Hoku was pointing out is that you put in the work and the research and you just choose to share it. And I think that's a great time. I really wanted to bring this up of the sheep prop community. And so a lot of what you've done, like, there are people that kind of follow a path, and there are people that are that carve their own path, and you are certainly the kind of person that carves their own. So with what you've discovered along your travels and your adventures and experience and ups and downs, at some point you've arrived as a revered female cosplayer that people really look up to, including, myself. But how has that developed into what the sheep prop? And actually, if you don't mind taking just a short moment to explain what the sheep prop community is, and then how that kind of developed.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's almost 3 years old. It started as an idea after I was complaining after I made my Hella debut, and it was actually a woman that asked me if my husband made my helmet.
And ooh, I saw that look on your face.
Did you see that eye roll?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was there was a lot of that for that build. It's like, you know what? I make cool stuff. I can do this stuff. Like, he's a photographer. Like, he doesn't make this stuff. Like, he probably could if he wanted to, but he didn't. Why? Anyway, I could go on about that.
No, but I think it's good that you're being authentic. Let it out.
I also think, yeah, for what it's worth, it's a topic that is very close to home for you. We can visually see,
and a lot of women, like, that's important. Get that.
Yeah,
like, if you got something to say it.
It's very important. Well, real talk. I was unhappy with the RPF because it's like anytime anybody I would share anything there, like, I just wanted to celebrate what I was doing, or maybe ask a question. And then, I mean, you can just guess like what would happen sometimes, not all the time, but enough times so that I can't remember the last time I've posted on that forum. Just a lot of unhelpful commentary over there. And I don't even get a lot of it. Like, I don't do a lot of sex cosplay. I don't really I'm not like some young 20-year-old that like gets that kind of attention anymore, which is great. Believe me, I am so, I don't know what I would be doing, how I would be able to handle it if social media was part of my young 20 years when I was 20. Like, yep. I don't know. So I was frustrated, and I messaged a couple of my friends. I was like, I just want like a group where like a RPF, but just for women. And then my friend was like, well, just make one. So 5 seconds later, I was like making a group, and I got really inspired. It's like, what are you gonna call it? So we were going through names and everything, and Sheep Prop was one, and like, well, that sounds perfect. I like that. And so that was in 2018 in March. We're almost 3, and since then we have almost 4,200 members. It is a closed community, which we do that. It's a closed community on Facebook because we want we want all of our members to feel safe. Like so we are open to anyone that identifies as female, non-binary, transgender, or two-spirits. And we don't really make any exceptions beyond that, because we want everyone in there to know what they're in for, to know what is going to happen when they post a question about like underwear, or like particularly a busty picture of themselves, where they're trying to figure out like what kind of undergarments to wear. Like, where can you ask those questions online?
Right. Without being
like nowhere
heavily criticized or a bunch of trolls or whatever. So that's
right.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not every maker forum is like that, but this particular one is unique in that we really work very hard to keep the group as safety is always first for our group.
Yep.
And I have admins, I have an editor group that does things for me. We have a whole panel team. It's just amazing, like the people that want to get involved with the behind the scenes stuff with this sheeprop group. It blows my mind. This little thing that I wanted to start because I was frustrated and I wanted to create the community that I needed, has turned into something that has changed my life big time. And I hope that, and I know that it's made a positive impact on a lot of other people's lives as well. And giving them that community where they might not feel like they can share or ask questions, or be as guarded as you don't really need to do that in our group. So we're on Facebook. We're also on all the socials, and there's a website.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the gist of it.
What is the website so we can put it in? Is it
sheeprop.com.
Prop.com. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for elaborating on that. And that's one.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. It's really important that everybody know that we are not a man bashing group. That is absolutely not what we do. We actually have a set of rules in there, and one of the rules is like that's not what we are. We are a supportive
you're a
group.
safe harbor.
Yeah,
right.
You really are. You're a sanctuary.
And, exactly. And if comments and threads start going in that direction, we address it and we shut that down, just as much as we do with other things. So we've taken these last 3 years to kind of curate that and to kind of cement that in everyone's mind. So anyway, I just wanted to interject and just make sure that I threw that out too, because that's really important.
No, it's super. I've had some experiences. I've been in recovery for many years. In fact, I think last week I was celebrating my 19-year sobriety birthday while we were interviewing Evil Ted. But in my early recovery, there were a lot of women that would go to AA meetings and would get harassed by men as newcomers, and that's
wow,
very dangerous for that to happen, because it can push them right out the doors, and they'll never come back, and they may never recover.
Yeah.
So I ended up being part of a board of directors that helped to facilitate a series of women's only recovery meetings and support groups within our district. And it became the most powerful and safe and inspiring and empowering community of women in that kind of network. So then I worked in mental health for many years, and that was a module that was like, when I learned this about Sheeprop, about you, my respect for you went through the ceiling, because I know how valuable that is. And I just want to say thank you, because what you've done is powerful, not just for the women involved and the women that touches, but it's just amazing for everyone, for the whole community. It's like you're empowering women to stand up for themselves and help each other learn how to deal with things that affect men and women. Like, it's extremely powerful. It's extraordinary. So thank you for doing what you've done. And I know it's a collaborative effort, and I don't want to sing praises that it's all you and stuff like that, but like, if you spearheaded this because it was something that just pissed you off, that's pretty amazing. So I'm very excited that you are who you are, and you've chosen to join our committee this year with this particular event, but just that you exist.
Thank you. You're making me blush and like borderline cry, so stop it.
Well, that's
Low key, that's part of our
it's
goal.
good to be reminded of like you've worked very hard to establish and build what you, like you said, 4,000 members or more in less than 3 years that's incredible.
Yep.
And the
Thank you.
magnetism is so obvious. So, and right when we brought up Sheeprop, everyone in chat was like, "Oh my god, I hate when people do that to me," or "People have done that for years," and like just that instant reaction of what you said is just people get it right away.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for saying all those things.
There's one thing that I've experienced, and it's something that I don't want to get too far into it, but whether you are dealing with, toxic masculinity or even toxic feminism, because it does exist, there is almost an elitism. That's what I view it as, is there's this elitism that people have where they're like, this is mine, you don't belong here. And looking at Sheeprop, it's actually something that inspired us when we were trying to develop the Ultimate Cosplay Championship further, because the fact is this brand, it's going to reach far more than just being a contest. It's to be a sanctuary. And that sanctuary that we're trying to create is something that is primarily meant to be inclusive, and we're trying to make sure that we don't invite that toxic behavior. There's a really a zero, tolerance policy when it comes to toxicity.
Yep.
From wherever you originate from, whether that's sex, whether that's politics or religion, doesn't matter. Doesn't belong here. Sheeprop really did kind of give us a lot of influence in the direction that we want to take it and grow the community in.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I see it, is I want to make a place where anybody from Sheeprop that wants to go and actually, communicate on a non, gender related topic feels like they can do that without having somebody just beat down their ideas and try and put them in their place. I hate that. Absolutely hate that. So, what you're doing is I hate that it's necessary, but you're almost offering a place where people can get rehabilitated, where they don't feel like their ideas are stupid, and that's necessary because it exists. For anybody out there that wants to accuse Sheeprop of being, about man bashing and all that, no, I view it like this. The fact is, there's been such a harsh tone kind of pushed against so many of the up and coming female prop makers. From what I've seen, it's like there has to be almost rehabilitation so they can actually feel like they're allowed to say what they think. I want to know what you guys have to think. I want to know what everyone has to think, because it's in that position where the community can actually grow as a whole. The fact is, we exist in a bubble right now, and that bubble is pervasive of really toxic masculinity. There's other things going on, but really that is not acceptable. And my hope is that, groups like yours and then other groups that help rehabilitate other groups are eventually going to be able to find a central hub. And I want to make the Ultimate Cosplay that hub for people, where they can go and feel like they belong. So, I know we've said thank you, but once again, thank you, because you're going to give our community a fresh group of individuals that are going to bring something tremendously valuable to the table, and it wouldn't have existed without you. Right. So, yeah.
I love everything you just said, and I hope that we can, as a community, kind of echo what you guys have done and built, and in a very inclusive way. So, and by the way, Beverly, so Sheeprop has a podcast is it every week?
No, it's like whenever I have time. It's kind of on the back burner right now because I've got so much other things going
fair
on.
enough. But either way, at the beginning of this year, I think when we were inviting you to be one of our committee members and a judge, you invited me to be on one of the She Prop podcast shows.
Mhm.
And I was so honored when you asked me, and I was like, is that a thing? Like, am I allowed to do that? Like, did you see all of this, or whatever? But I felt so privileged, and like you don't know my history and things that I've done with mental health and experiences I've had, and I just felt so honored. And if and when that does happen, I hope to bring a lot of positivity and perspective from someone who's seen some very awful things happen,
Yeah.
to light, and it's a big part of who I am, and I really appreciated that offering.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm always thinking about this group, like almost unhealthily like amount of time about this group. Like, what can I do to make this a better group? What can I do to like include these folks a little bit more? Like, how can we make this more dynamic? And one of the things that I realized was like, you know what, a lot of us have spouses or people who are allies, and they truly are allies. And so inviting you onto the podcast is part of this ongoing conversation I have with myself, and like, how can I include more voices in the community, which will help get the word out about this group a little bit more, and while also saying that it's okay to have allies, and allies are important. Like, we can't do all this work by ourselves. We have to have help from men, and we have to have those discussions in order for anything to change. Like, we need to hold each other accountable. We need to point things out when they should maybe change. We have to have those dialogues. We can't exist in a vacuum, or nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to get better. So I'm playing around with that. The podcast has sort of fallen off the cliff, as so to speak, because it takes me so much time, as you know, as a content creator, to make anything, record anything, like post-production, all that stuff is. It's one thing to have just something that is audio, but I like to do video. And so we'll see where that goes.
Okay.
I'm sure that once I get more time, we'll pick it back up. We did like a live thing today, which we might, if we can nail down the format for that, make it a little bit smoother.
Aside from the little video hiccup, this very small hiccup we had on this particular broadcast, I'd be willing to help in any way that I can if you need.
Oh, okay.
With setting up overlays and things like that. But
okay, thank you.
There was. Screw you, dude! I thought it was happening again. Oh, I want to use bad language. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Cheers. That's funny. But
I've been waiting for the right moment the whole time.
Well, that was it. But no, like I this is so powerful, and like this, I think this is our 4th podcast since we started this, and we didn't really market it that much or whatever. We just this is what we do, and it's growing every week, and we want it to continue. And your presence here is such a powerful, like, you're such an asset to this particular show and everyone watching and everyone that will watch. There was another question I had, and this is one of those, like, take it however you want it, respond however you want. But what other are there any other personal obstacles that you personally had to overcome in order to become the person that you are, in order to be an optimist in the face of adversity? And like, do you see where I'm going with this?
How do you stay strong?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
where do you find your strength?
Honestly, and in what I'm doing with the She Prop group, like, I can always find my moral compass there. And I think that the amount of time and the amount of work that I've put into working with my team, which is really important, so important. I wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff without the people, my admins and my friends. I can call them all friends. Everyone that works together with me to help make this thing, is the best that it can be. I mean, we're really writing the rules that we all want for cosplay, right? Like we all want the community to be good and fair to each other and kind to each other. Being able to create that world and to create that environment for myself and allow that environment to extend to other people has really made me see that it can be a certain way. And so that when I go beyond the She Prop group, and I feel like I have built up a little bit of and I'm not going to say tough skin, because I think that's crap. I don't think that you need to have tough skin in order to make it through this world. I think that you just need to be able to filter and just let people who are only there for malicious reasons to just blow right by you and just keep moving. And I think that I've been able to learn that skill through cosplay and through this group. And so I think that is definitely an obstacle that I have overcome with the help of building this community, that I've been able to provide, hopefully, this experience of like, you know what, it can be this way. You don't have to deal with people who are trying to tear you down and tear you apart. You don't have time for that. You got to get working on your stuff. Like, you've got a costume to make.
Right.
You know, it is really hard. I can't sugarcoat everything. There's a lot of, everyone has difficulties in every aspect of everything, especially with the creative stuff. It's really difficult to separate yourself from self-critique and comparing yourself to other people, and especially with social media and like the likes and the interaction and everybody getting on YouTube, and like it just seems like it's just so overwhelming. And that's something that I'm dealing with right now, is being able to filter out all of that stuff and remembering what's important to me and what's giving me joy. You know, like, what is it?
You know, that's
such an
important question you just, asked yourself, really, is what is important to you? And I think that, first of all, it's almost amazing, because in a way you created the She Prop group to fill a void that you had, where you wanted to have a place for like-minded individuals to have as a sanctuary. But you also created an anchor for yourself. You know, as you said, you've got like the best moral compass you ever can, and that's a giant sounding board of, hey, am I in the wrong here? Almost. That's kind of an amazing thing that you've accomplished. I think a lot of people right now are having a hard time feeling anchored especially with everything that's going on. And so the fact that the She Prop group is something that you can use to keep you anchored, so you're level-headed and in a place where you can actually really think through things rationally, and not just get the blunt force and the trauma from toxicity. That's cool. That's super cool. You know, I have this saying. Yeah, I have this saying where, and here's something I think a lot of people, if I could encourage you guys to think about something like this, I've had bad experiences in the past, but I don't really feel like I'm ever in a position where I want to get even with somebody, because it's just, it's quid pro quo, or it's very much reciprocal. Toxic behavior is reciprocal. And so when you are in a position to take yourself away from that toxic behavior, as far as I'm concerned, the worst thing that I can ever do to somebody is not be their friend, is not be there for them. I truly feel that way. I value myself enough to say that. And I think you guys would be surprised to see that the next time you are basically in a position where somebody toxic is attacking you, just take yourself out of that equation. Don't give them the time of day. Don't allow them to affect you, because their values already have proven themselves to be really unvaluable. And so that's something that I think in a way, that's kind of what you just presented, is like, don't let them get to you, because that's the only way you empower it, is to give them that power. That's cool.
I had a quick comment. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and what you've done with Sheeprop is an excellent example of what our goals are with Ultimate Cosplay and other communities and things like that. And, you know, like I work with all of our affiliates at TNT Cosplay Supply, which is another community of people that we're building and things like that. But the more communities based on positivity with positive members and proper moderation, the more those communities rise up and exist and grow, the more it polarizes the entire world. And what I mean by that is it just adds an extreme amount of contrast where people are easily able to discover who are the positive people that are going to support me and who are the absolute, you know, negative people that are going to slow me down, weigh me down, or use me. So the more we all continue to grow and protect those communities, the more it leaves those other folks kind of stranded out on their own.
Yeah.
And it's not about leaving people behind, but if people choose not to develop in a way that evolves into something positive where they can contribute to the greater good or the greater whole, there's really nothing we can do. We can't change anyone, but we can create things that don't exist. And you've done that. And
Yeah.
we see that, and we see the need for what we're doing right now. And there's a lot of things in common there. So I'm very proud. Like I was just, and just one last quick thought.
Yeah.
As you were talking just a moment ago about what you've had to overcome and acknowledge to yourself in order to accept what you had to do to create what you had to make to do all the things you're doing. And then what Chad said, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I can't believe I called you on the phone and said, hey, do you want to be a judge? And you said yes. Like, I just had this moment of like I looked up to you before, and in the last 2 hours or however long it's been, I'm just sitting here like my mind is blown in the best way right now. and I hope that everyone that knows you or is watching this or is learning more about you understands that you're not just an asset as a judge, or that you're, you know, going to evaluate people's costumes properly, but your presence is so much more powerful than just that. And I could say that about literally every committee member that we have as a judge or an admin support or an administrator or whatever. So I know I've thanked you a lot for a lot of different things, but like that's just going to keep happening, so deal with it. And I know you had something to say, so please go
hide
on.
under.
That's why she put on the scarf. It's not actually cold in Oregon. She just wanted to hide.
Oh yeah, I'm not shivering right now.
I love that you literally were like, I'm resilient to the BS in the world, but if you compliment you run away.
I know.
A lot of us are like that.
Why do I do that? I don't know. It's hard. That's something I'm working on. I tell my friends that all the time. Like, oh, to accept a compliment, like I wouldn't tell you if I didn't mean it. Just say thank you. Thank you.
It's hard to say thank you, especially for artists. But no, there was something else. It looked like you were gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one thing that I have also learned is that I don't know everything, and I have lots of room to improve, and I need to be open to listening to other people and considering that maybe I'm missing something, and I need to go seek that information out from people who would know. And so things like talking about inclusivity and stuff like that. I feel like I have so much that I still need to learn. I am always trying to open my mind and listen to people and hear people. And I think that's another important part of what you were saying, that this community needs to be positive and everything. We also need to hold ourselves accountable and make room for others that might not have a voice or have a big voice or have the opportunity to have a voice. Those are really important themes that need to be more consistent in all of our conversations and throughout every event. all of that stuff. It's not just during February, it's all year round
Right.
with everybody. And I especially feel this because Sheeprop allows me and forces me to think about the stuff a lot. And I do pay attention to it. So I'm trying to do my best and not just be someone like a fair weather supporter of all groups of people. It's an ongoing process.
Understood.
And I have to give myself a little bit of a break sometimes when I mess up, but also recognize I do mess up sometimes. But I'm always learning.
Yeah, there was something that Harrison Volpin said to me a couple of weeks ago was, he said, what you guys are doing is brilliant and it's getting really big. And he said he really admired the coordinators of this event for acknowledging gaps that needed to be filled, being willing to adapt when necessary. And because what we're creating is not necessarily a tangible object, but it is something we are creating. And when we are willing to adjust, adapt, learn, grow, include, all those things, that is ultimately what you've just described with Sheeprop. And if we don't expand, we will disintegrate. And that's something that I would love for, like, because we're building this brand and the company is literally what, like 6 days old or something like that. Even though we did the show last year and whatever, but we have a community. We have, friends and fans and viewers and competitors and all that stuff. So we have that kind of backing right now. But I would love, as we more legitimately develop our brand, to have people like yourself be a representative of Sheeprop, or have someone, like Cutie Pie Sensei bring in maybe a community that or like Pros and Cons Cosplay is a great example of what
Literally ambassadors.
Yeah,
You're ambassadors
of several different communities. And like I'm really happy to bring in a lot of the TNT people I've known, or a lot of the needlework people that I've met, because I started as a tailor, and a lot of people don't know that. They see me and they're like, here's another dude, I bet he makes props and 3D prints shit like everyone else or whatever. But like, I love fabric. That's my thing. But
I'm scared of fabric.
It's because it's black magic.
A
lot of people say that.
Yeah.
But I'm
Sewing is literally black magic.
It's witchcraft.
That's why I call myself the fabric warlock. But it's really, and I'm not saying that like Ultimate Cosplay is going to be the focal point of anything at all. It's just it's another outlet for people to network and connect with, and hopefully grow kind of a web of positivity.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think the thing that is interesting about the Ultimate Cosplay Contest is that it is created by cosplayers, and how many other big events are like that. And so the advantage is that you are embedded in the community. It's not some committee member or someone that doesn't understand what the important things are and what the nuances are to us and to these events, or for these events that we have had for many, many years. There are always going to be problems. There are always going to be places where you can improve, but to have the experience that all of these judges have, and have it as a collaborative development to make this event as awesome as it can be, that's why it makes it different. For sure.
Well, we're not running this contest as essentially marketing. It's not intended to help badge sales. It's intended to be a contest.
Yep.
And that's something that, our origin, our entire goal is about the contest. It's not as just an addition. This is not a second thought of what could we do at our convention that would be awesome. Not that I mind when conventions do contests. I love them. But how do we elevate a contest into something that supersedes that, where it's not just second, thought, it's primary. And maybe In a way, I guess it is a little bit though second thought, because first and foremost, it's about the collaborative, joining of cosplayers as a whole to be a part of this community. So
Mhm.
I think that the contest is first and foremost, it's something that it's genuine. It really is.
And something in like, maybe we're going too deep into the foundation of how and why this started, but something I've been talking to some of our members about, especially Hoku here, is as we're legitimizing things and getting a business license and business bank accounts and talking like to accountants, which our accountant is here right now in chat, by the way. I won't say who, but wink. Anyway, but
No wink.
as we're
When I
doing
wink,
these,
actually it just looks like I'm blinking.
just blink at our accountant for me.
I'm winking at you guys right now.
Right. Okay. Perfect. But but while we're doing all of these things to try to legitimize and protect and make contracts and all those things, we want to maintain that the fact that we are makers. We are a company of people, of makers, for the community and all that. But we also want to keep that organic, non-scripted, unrehearsed, just kind of free-form kind of personality that you'd find at a convention. I don't want to write scripts for anyone. In fact, I refuse to. Like, things are just going to go the way they go, and if Ted's dog knocks over his cocktail during the show again this year, that's going to happen. And if Hoku and Sammy want to eat ice cream during the entire show, that's what they're going to do, because we want to maintain that as
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
you okay, so you remember. Okay, yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
They were bragging.
I also
they were bragging.
I have to say, one of my favorite moments was when Ted was in costume and then suddenly he was not in costume.
He literally was just like, I'm done. He disappeared. And I kind of like looked at Chris to see his reaction. And Chris is just like, yep. And I'm just sitting there going, yep. And I'm pretty sure you were looking literally at me when he did that. Like, what the hell is happening?
No, I didn't notice. And like, I looked over and Ted had like all this like
raccoon eyes.
So
yeah, those like black
He had the
paint on his face. And I asked him if he just fell down a chimney. But like, I didn't notice it happen. But like, hopefully there's no technical issues, but like just the fact that anything can happen makes this that much more fun. And something else that's great is like, a lot of times at conventions, there's an MC or a host that's running the contest, and the contestants walk out and they walk the stage after prejudging, and everyone cheers and they do their little spin or they pose or whatever. But you don't really hear the judge's commentary. You just hear whatever the MC is reading off of a card based on notes that was passed to them, which is traditionally how it's gone. It's not good or bad. It's just that's it. But for our show, we're going to have myself and 9 other judges on camera talking about why this person was selected as a finalist, what they loved most about their costume, what they did that was unique and rare and amazing, and they're going to get that live commentary that you otherwise wouldn't get at a live convention. And then we're going to be able to integrate, if you sent a video and said, Talk, I got something to say about this artist, so you're going to play this video when you show them, I will do that for you.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah, if
Cool.
there's someone that just makes your blood boil, make sure you let me know, and we'll get you in there. But
I want to cut in really quick. There's something we like to do, Beverly, and that is give the people we're interviewing a chance to ask us a couple of questions.
Oh.
So
yeah,
as
the honorary host for the next couple of minutes, do you have any questions about either us or the contest or Severo or anything?
Or don't just bring up the dog.
Severo?
Don't just bring up the dog. Oh, here we go. Now everyone in chat's gonna be like, "Oh, my heart hurts because it's just too adorable." The dog is very adorable, though.
Oh,
I still have
it's
two
like
of
intermission.
I have 2 of
Yes.
Severo's toys in my garage from when you were visiting Dallas, and
I thought you were gonna hang them up on the wall.
No, they're on my laser cutter.
Oh,
Yep.
I love it.
And everything
this
Beverly
is the kind
just
of content
said
I'm here for.
is now like everyone forgot everything Beverly just said because there's a dog on camera
Yep.
now.
Yep.
That dog is
Our minds are all blank.
adorable, though.
I want to boop that nose too, Feather Phoenix.
My boss says that my turtles are awesome as well. So take that, Severo.
Okay, I do have questions for you guys.
Yes, we're ready.
But they're going to be silly questions. Are you ready?
Always.
Do they have to be about?
No.
No.
It could be
Anything at all.
literally
Okay.
anything.
Because I've always wanted to do like a game show, kind of like a cosplay game show, like a quick draw kind of a thing.
The ultimate cosplay quick draw,
Oh my god.
hosted by Beverly.
Oh, I hope this is like a
Creative Studios.
what's the newlyweds game? Do that with me and Hoku. See how well we know each other.
Oh god.
Okay. All right.
Oh goodness.
Okay. Chris, what is Chad's favorite material to work with? I know that's kind of a softball question. Cosplay stuff.
No, I know. I would say probably. I don't want to say PLA. I would say probably resin because I'd say probably resin right now. And if we're talking digital content, I don't want to talk that because that's not fair. Tangible objects only. I would say resin and resin print.
And the answer is?
My absolute favorite material to work with is leather.
Ooh.
I love leather.
Yeah, after you made
It's
your
so cool.
your Trevor Belmont, I realized that you really
Yep.
did enjoy working with leather. So I failed.
It's so much fun. And it's so unique and it's so diverse and it can do things that are unique to it. Leather is very much unique. That being said, I think it's incredibly ironic that skin is viewed as prestigious.
Right. And I
Because
failed.
it's just cow
I,
skin.
as your companion, I failed that challenge. And I don't feel
But
that embarrassed.
I do love 3D printing resin
Okay. Well,
when it's cured. Just
Okay.
saying. I hate it when it's uncured.
Right. I do too.
It's the worst when it's uncured. Okay,
My turn.
Chad, what is
Yes.
Chris's least favorite material to work with?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Least favorite material to work with.
Like he's allergic to it. Like, don't even talk about it. I don't want to see it. Get it out of my face.
Shut up, Dave. It's not leather. My brother's my
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, everybody. We want your guesses in the chat.
I have to think of what is my least favorite.
And it can be ridiculous too, like glitter or something. Oh, somebody said glitter. Going A costume.
I'm not gonna steal that one from you. I'm gonna give this one like some deep thought.
I
in about
have a
12
least
seconds.
favorite task that I do. For sure. Can we do something like
Least
that?
favorite task.
Yeah, there's
Editing
something.
contracts.
No. Artistically speaking, there's something that I absolutely hate doing, but I have to do it all the time.
Buttons. That I stole
No,
that.
I love buttons.
I
Standing.
suspect you absolutely hate cleaning airbrushes.
Yes, that is the correct answer. Is I fucking hate cleaning my airbrush. That is the correct. Okay, so we're 0 for 1, or we're 1 for 2, I should say.
Chad is winning.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Way to go. Absolutely. That is correct. Okay, so if you have any other just goofy questions, if you got something, go for it. Or legitimate cosplay contest questions like, what do I do? Or, I don't know, whatever.
What do I do? Let's see.
I'm so glad you got that, Chad. That's hilarious.
I told you, 12
That was
seconds. I was gonna think really hard.
Yep.
Was I looking up? Was I doing that thing that I do?
Yeah. Okay. You
This
got
is
some?
where all my answers exist above my head. I have to look for them. up
He's
there.
got cue cards on the ceiling that Sammy
Little
puts there.
answer cloud.
Yeah. All right, hit us with something.
Okay, serious time, serious question. I feel like that was a serious question. Oh, I will say that I just heard my husband go out and get burritos for dinner. So that's 20-minute warning.
It's been almost two full
for me.
hours.
Yeah,
since,
it's been a while.
since Chad fixed his camera. By the way, So you've been with us for like 3 hours almost. So
That's true.
we'll say we'll wrap this up in the next 10 minutes, but
Okay, perfect.
we'll let you ask some questions and then have a little outro.
Um,
I hate you
okay.
right now, Chad. I thought I was doing it.
So
Sorry.
if COVID hadn't happened and we hadn't been in quarantine,
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
was this something that that was kind of like in your minds? Was this something that has always been something you wanted to do or have been interested in doing?
Oh,
The
like
contest.
the virtual
Yeah.
contest?
Well, any kind of contest that is built by cosplayers for cosplayers.
Chad, I'll let you answer that first.
That is a fantastic question.
It is.
And the answer is no, for what it's worth. And you know what? That question actually makes me feel a bit better
Hmm.
because I hate that it was necessary, but without the pandemic, Ultimate Cosplay probably would never have started. You
Mhm.
know, it started organically. That's the thing is it was a very organic kind of reactionary
Yeah.
a response that we had to the pandemic where, you know, the cards kind of fell into alignment where Frostbite Cosplay reached out to Chris and was like, hey, let's do a contest or something online. I've got a bunch of resin and silicone. I'll make the trophy and a bunch of medals and stuff. And, you know, we can just do something awesome. So really he deserves the bulk share of the credit of kind of planting that seed, right? And then progressing from there, though, it was like, okay, well, then what can we do? And then Chris reached out to me and we started talking and we started trying to figure out, okay, well, what is it about the pandemic specifically and the limitations that it presents that's actually going to facilitate something that's unique? The fact is, a lot of people have time where they're more at home. A lot of people are in a position where they're not going to be competing in other contests. So we knew that there was going to be an excess or a surplus of costumes being produced, but not competing. And it was like, we need to give as many people as possible worldwide, literally globally. And we decided that pretty early on.
No, we
A
didn't.
chance.
The community just said, "Hey, I live in Portugal. Can I compete?" And we just said, "Sure." Like we just adapted that
Right,
rule.
but we made the whole contest in like what, 12 days. So it was pretty early on.
I can't
I
argue with
guess.
that. Yeah, that's
Right.
correct. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, so to kind of finish that train of thought, it was something that specifically it exists right now because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
in a way, I'm grateful that we've been able to take lemons and turn them into lemonade in a way. And
Yeah.
I'm excited because now we're in a position where, as you have done with Sheeprop, you know, we have created more than just a contest. We've created a community. We've created a sanctuary. We've created a facility for people to learn and grow and develop. You know, we offer we're presenting and offering a platform for anybody that wants to be involved where they can get screen time, they can communicate, they can ask questions, and they can really use as a launch pad for their own, you know, unique brand. That to me is super fulfilling. And
Mhm.
I am grateful that I get to kind of help pave that way of creating a new outlet really for people. You know, cosplay is so many different things to so many different people. And for me, what cosplay is it's a community. It's a
Mhm.
family. That's my answer to that question. And that family needs to be supportive. I kind of visualize this brand in the same way that my family is. And my family, luckily enough, is incredibly supportive. You know, I survived my accident because of them. So I want to make sure that we're creating that same exact feeling of sanctuary or safe harbor that I have with my own family. So
Mm.
I hope you guys realize the moment you're part of this community, I view you in the same way that I view my own family, which is I would do just about anything for you, including telling you when you're fucking up.
Mhm.
So just know that,
He
and I
does
love
that
you
to me
all.
a lot, by the way, and I admire the hell out of you for it. You're one of the few people I allow do that.
I'm done, by the way. That's my answer.
I don't think
Good
there's
answer.
much more I could say. I mean, yeah, we would not have done it, and last year turned out to be surprisingly busy for myself and Talk Custom, and And with what we had to adapt to with TNT as a result of not having cons and things like that. So last year ended up being far busier than I would have been if it wasn't for COVID. And
Mhm.
my YouTube channel grew, TNT's YouTube channel grew. We put on the show 2 months or less into lockdown. And then I was in that documentary for Brother, which were like, there was so many things that just kept happening, and the more opportunities that happen, not just for me, but for a lot of people, companies, influencers, educators were desperate to share content.
Yep.
And we all had the choice. Are we going to allow this to defeat us and let us be miserable and depressed and sit on our hands, or are we going to allow this to be as productive as we can and share everything that we can? And by the way, a lot of us went through a lot of both. Where for a week I was like, this sucks. Like, I want to get the hell out of Texas for a day. But then there was times for a month straight where I would just shoot a bunch of videos, and it was great. And so, yeah, the way the world has changed, I mean, in so many ways is tremendous because of COVID, but specifically for costumers, cosplay, prop makers, and educators. And something else I just want to finish on is that we plan on doing this virtual contest every year, even after the vaccine, even after cons are a thing, and it's safe to do so again. But we plan on doing this every year because we think there will be a demand for an international virtual-based contest where people can, participate from home without flying, without buying badges, without getting hotel rooms, and they can showcase their stuff and watch a really fun show. So we are officially announcing the 2022 Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship, but there will be many other projects that we are going to be facilitating between now and then, which is very exciting.
Yeah. Well, providing that platform for people to be able to find a foundation and have an anchor so they can actually grow. That's something that doesn't cease to exist the moment the contest ends. That's so much of what's beneficial about by the way, guys, if you want to join our Discord, the link's below in the panels. I just added it at the start of this. And then we've also got that copy paste there.
Yep.
But that Discord is going to remain active in perpetuity. That's
in
a
perpetuity.
Word that we've used a lot yet lately.
So we've been writing a lot of contracts, so that's really funny for some reason.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, so that's something to just consider is, we hope to grow and we hope to offer more, genuinely just more opportunities for everybody that we can. And that's something that I think really the entire goal of what we do, a portion of that is helping people grow. And that growth is great because, here's my philosophy, and here's why I like to share the knowledge that I have. And I suspect you guys are the same way. If I can teach 50 people something and one of them finds out something new, or two of those people find out some cool thing relating to the topic that I taught them, they bring it back to me. It's exponential growth. I have now grown exponentially. I traded one thing, I got two things back. Man, that's a great feeling.
Yep.
And it's also great because it's now providing me an opportunity to, be able to then spread that new exponential knowledge or that exponential growth. There's no benefit by keeping secrets when it comes to techniques. Nobody benefits from it because eventually that technique gets lost. If all we ever did as humans was spread our knowledge, man, we'd be way further ahead. And so that's something also that really is going to be a primary kind of focus in our group here in our community, is making sure that everybody that wants to grow has that opportunity. And those of you that is having a hard time growing, hopefully we can help you pass that hard time, whether that's something relating, to emotional or mental health, physical health, who knows? The fact is, all of the people involved, we've got such a diverse community already, right? there's somebody out there in our group who probably has experienced something just like you, whether that's losing an eye or struggling with mental health issues or struggling with just, toxic masculinity, right? And so just realize that you are not alone. It's something that you yourself might actually be that person for somebody else. So just make sure that when you join, you realize that you might be able to help somebody as much as somebody might be able to help you. So yeah.
That was an excellent question. I mean, that really, I'll be thinking about that for the next week until we find whoever we're interviewing next. And actually, I know burrito time is in about 8 minutes or so, according to your timeline.
Yeah, it might be in like 2 minutes.
Okay, but
as soon as my husband comes up.
Is there someone on our committee that you would like to see interviewed?
Ooh.
Oh.
Should be like everyone.
Well, we're going to try to get to everyone, but who do you think we should reach out to next? Because we don't have a schedule.
I mean, pros and cons cosplay. I can't get enough of her. So and both of them, but yeah, Tiffany.
Okay.
I feel like as a duo, they have a personality as pros and cons.
They do.
And it was so fun when we were talking to them the first time. I was like, who's pros and who's cons?
Right.
And they both pointed at each other.
Yep. I will make a new overlay specifically for them so that we can accommodate 4 people. But I think that would be a great group to reach out to. And I think, well, whatever. Anyway, I think it's appropriate for us to wrap up because I'm hungry. You got burritos and Hoku and Sammy.
I'm dreaming about guacamole right now.
Yeah, so
I can't hear anything you're saying anymore.
Yeah, but yeah. Do you have any final thoughts, Beverly?
Oh my God. I mean, I can always talk for like forever. So maybe my final thought is thanks for hanging out for this long. If you have been here this whole time or popped in and out.
What are your social medias?
That we can in my social media, sure. I'm Downen Creative Studios everywhere. DOWNEN everywhere.
It's on the screen right now.
Oh yeah, it's on the screen.
Yeah.
Right there. Yep, that's it right there. Yeah. Reach out to me. I love that. Try to be very approachable. And if you are not in the Sheeprop group, or if you are not eligible to be in the Sheeprop group, you can still be an ally. You can still send your friends to us. Tell everybody about Sheeprop that might like to come, because we want to grow our community. We are here, and we are waiting.
Good.
So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I feel incredible having had this conversation, even in the midst of all of our fun little Hoku Hulk rage, Metal Gear Solid Snake.
Metal Gear Solid.
He had an eye patch too, didn't he?
That was really fun. That technical problem.
But yeah, seriously, I feel inspired and I'm in a great mood. I have to pee really bad because I drank 3 cups of coffee, but just and Hoku, thank you so much for continuing to facilitate these podcasts. And thank you everyone in chat. And we'll be excited to announce probably the day of who our next guest is next Saturday. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna close this out. Beverly, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. It was really wonderful being able to interview you, and you've given both Chris and I think, a tremendous amount of things to think about. For those of you that were willing to watch this and listen and hear, please, if you've got comments or questions, leave them below. Once again, this is the Ultimate Cosplay Podcast, and we have no idea who we're interviewing next, but we're already excited, and I hope you guys are too. So tune in next Saturday at 4:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Once again, everybody, thank you for being involved. Thank you for being here. I love you all. And with that, farewell, goodbye. And until we meet again, we are out. Peace. Goodbye.